panel here. The second panelist of the day we have with us Tanya Jolly from BBA third year. Welcome, Tanya. Moving on to our next panelist, we have Vishesh Gola from BBA third year. Welcome, Vishesh. And as our fourth panelist, we have with us Sarthak Goyla from BBA third year. I would request everyone to give a good round of applause to our panelists. Okay, so to initiate the discussion, I would like to take permission from Sir. So can we start? Thank you, sir. So without further ado, let's dive deep into the history of education system of India. So is there anyone who could elaborate the same?
Sure, then I'll take over. So, good afternoon to everybody. I'm Sarthak and I'm here to talk about the history of Indian education. I would like to start off this panel discussion by asking you all a question. What do you think came first, civilization or education? Remember, we take a wild guess. It's absolutely correct. For the other world countries, they first derived the topic of civilization. Then they reached agriculture and animal husbandry. And then somewhere they arrived on the topic of education. Now, the interesting fact about it is that they learned it all from India. Now, this dates back to 1,000 years ago, and the evidence can be seen in the historic scriptures written by a number of historians. Early education in India commenced under a guru. The education was imparted in a gurukul. Now these gurukuls, they were built far away from cities or public places just to avoid disturbances and distractions for the students. Now coming to the epitome of uh, Indian education system, Takshila and Nalanda. Now these universities, they were prominent from possibly the 8th century BC. Takshila, now in Pakistan, did not have seem to have existed purpose-built lecture halls or residential quarters for the staffs as compared to Nalanda, now in northeastern India, Bihar. It was one of the oldest university system in the world. Now coming to the medieval period, 900 to 1000 AD, enters Al-Biruni. He was a scholar who wrote about the Kitab ul Hind, or the Book of India, one of the earliest encyclopedias about the people of South Asia. Now, many scholars such as Muhammad Chishti or Nizamuddin Aulia, they established Islamic institutions. These institutions, they attracted a number of foreign students who came to India just to study science and humanity. Now coming straight into the British rule. Now Britishers came to India looking for a labor economy. They saw English as a medium of instruction for the people to carry out their menial jobs for them. But before the Britishers came in the scene, the Vedic education system was still very prominent. The way of a guru, he gave his students one and only one question to which they had to find answers to, all on their own, even if they needed to search the ends of the earth. But the Britishers, they gave the assignments to the students full of questions and gave the answers side by side. The students did not have to learn any questions and use their mind in fact. This was done to kill the critical thinking of the people so that if you don't know, you won't ask questions, right? Now coming to the state universities, many state universities were founded in the period of 1857 to 1947. Our very own University of Delhi was founded in 1922, and the University of Rajputana was the last state university to be founded in 1947. Coming to the modern day India, the government is emphasizing on the education of the youth. The Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, it ensures education as a compulsory fundamental right for the children of age 6 to age of 14. The Right to Education Act was passed recently in 2009. Now, if we talk about education, we can't miss IIT. The first IIT was established in 1950s. Now we have over 23 IITs in India to promote premier engineering education. Having said all that, we can see how we have come a long way from a teacher-centric to a student-centric education system. From going out in the world to the world coming to your fingertips. From a Gurukul in the forest to air-conditioned classrooms. We sure have come a long way, and I'm pretty sure there's more to come. With that, thank you everybody. Back to you, Zainab.
Thank you, Sarkar, for this wonderful introduction. So, as far as educational platforms are concerned, teaching alternatives can be broadly diversified. So, Aditya, e-education or chalk and duster method, what is the new prototype of current education?
Thank you for the warm welcome, Jaya. Now, some great points, Sarthak. I totally agree. Now, humanity's progress has 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 a multiple number of revolutionary achievements. We started off with something so simple, like the invention of the wheel, and onwards towards the most complex achievements, like development of the space shuttle. Do you guys believe that we could have had the same type of groundbreaking advancements via online learning? Well, I don't. Now, some people even believe that it's time to go beyond our four walls, our chalks and dusters, and our tables and chairs. And since COVID-19 has hit us, it has brought enough new situations and strong reasons for us to usher in the most needed renaissance in our education system. With the belief that students are the future of every nation, a panel of specialists led by our former ISRO chief, Mr. Krishna Swami Kasturi Rangan. They all gathered and discussed all the difficulties and adjustments that were in need for an education system to thrive. They discussed a particular plan for every student so that they could convey towards schools, through colleges, and till recruitment. Now, coming on to my next point, is that our nation is progressing in every manner, and technology is at the epicenter of development. There's an old saying that old is gold, but in terms of tech, old is not usually gold. And these modern day technologies started off with these smart and interactive classrooms, where students would come together in a shared and safe space to construct, negotiate, and manipulate the meaning of anything and everything around a campus. But this method was always somewhere near the old chalk and duster idea. Now, the old chalk and duster idea was just getting limited in terms of size and content. It was just not efficient anymore and required more physical work for the teacher. Nextly, that these chalk and duster classrooms was just getting outdated with technology. As screens became an important aspect and a daily aspect of our lives, it was important that this was included in our education system. Someone had a great idea to inculcate the same. With touchscreens dedicated towards creating opportunities and shared perceptual meanings and understandings, students could now dig down and construct knowledge in a more deeper and efficient manner. The only disadvantage these smart classrooms had was the expense that it had. But now the government is trying to understand that these classrooms are important. These new age classrooms are important for our future. But let me clear one very basic point and very important fact that these smart classrooms, these modern technologies, did not come to replace the old chalk and duster method. It was just an aid to the pre-existing system. But then in 2020, as we all know, government announced the lockdown right at the beginning of the new academic year. And it made everyone worried, especially our parents, our teachers, and especially our students. Even though half the world had never attended an online class, everyone switched to their online classes in a millisecond. Even though it was difficult for students and teachers, they all started to do it. Students started to study and teachers started their online programs. Because it was important for the teachers also to understand how these programs work. Nextly, I have a video that I'd like to share with you all. on this note, there is no school greater than childhood, and there is no teacher greater than curiosity. Thank you. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, Nitya, for enlightening us. So, as you all know, COVID has a massive impact on our lives. So, it definitely had an impact on the education sector too. So, is there anybody who can tell the effects of that particular system?
Yes, sure, definitely. I would like to take it. As my friend Aditya said about COVID and online classes, I would like to elaborate it in my way. The impact of COVID on the Indian education sector was massive. 25th March 2020 was the last day when around 32 crore students went to schools or colleges for the last time, and even some of our exams got cancelled. We all know we have experienced that the COVID shifted our offline schooling to online classes. I mean, you all must remember the assembly periods or zero periods you all used to have before your lectures. Now it turned into sharp 9 a.m. logins into the lectures without prior having anything to do. I mean, there were no assemblies or zero periods. There were straight away there were lectures. Also, I would like to ask one thing. We shifted to an alternative course of education, that is online classes. But do you guys really think that this alternative action or the online classes was accessible to all? What do you guys think? Of course, the poor section of the society, the children were not able to afford smartphones or computers or even get internet access, and this led them to drop out from their schools. I have heard of so many cases where small children, nearly 10 to 15 years of age, were committing suicide because their parents were not financially strong enough to buy a smartphone. I mean, ending up their lives is not the way how it works, even though they wanted to study. What would have been the condition of those parents who were already poor and then their children committing suicide? That would be a vast situation. Then this COVID affected not only our students but teachers too. The teachers who are not so good in technological use faced great difficulties and hence took longer to connect with students. Then even some educational institutes like gyms too, they were offering teachers online sessions to operate Zoom and enlighten them to how to handle it. Now, I would like to ask you one more question. How many of you are aware about Coursera or Udemy or Geeks for Geeks? Okay, so can you please tell me something about it?
They provide some kind of short-term courses, which like basically courses they provide courses, additional courses except your basic like college education or
Yes, online courses.
yeah,
Yeah.
online.
So these online courses have become a trend these days. People are not just the minimum guy anymore. They are learning new things, experiencing new technologies just by doing online courses, which are available for a small amount, or even some courses are available for free. I mean, this is a great leap in technology. People are getting degrees, diplomas, and certificates right at the comfort of their homes. I mean, this is a boon for the Indian education system. I mean, online classes were already good, I know, but we were still missing our offline classes, like the fun we used to have with our friends or the going out with them to places. But online education proved to be a boon in this way, like we were getting certificates at our home. In last, I would agree with what my friend Aditya said, like the chalk and duster method was good. I mean, online teaching is also good, but I believe that the chalk and duster method cannot be replaced in today's time. It will still take some time to be replaced. Back to that.
Thank you for such insightful words, Vishesh. The National Education Policy, the NEP 2020, that was started by the Union Cabinet, envisions the education system that will explore more heights. So, what has been the major trend? Is anyone?
Sure, Thierry. I would like to emphasize on the National Education Policy 2020. So, India is a population heavy country with a gross population of 1.4 billion people and children making up about one third of the population. So, I think with statistics like these, a good education system should be put into place. I mean, we all went to school, we all had our days, good days, fun days, some bad days even. But I think we can all agree that our education system could use some healthy reforms. And thus, the National Education Policy of 2020 was introduced. So basically, this policy was introduced to replace the system that was put in place in 1986. This policy is one of the biggest changes to have happened in the history of modern Indian education system. Now let's discuss in detail about what this policy states. So the policy basically states that the medium of education in which we are learning should be in our mother language till fifth standard, and it also recommends doing so till eighth standard. A student should learn three languages in school, and two of which must be of Indian native. The policy also records that the highest priority of schooling would be to achieve foundational literacy and numeracy for all students by grade 3. I believe that this is a very good thought process as the most basic things like reading, writing, arithmetic and all should be achieved at the core level so that the students can use these skills to further themselves better in their future. Now, I think we have all heard of the major change in the policy that happened is the 10 plus 2 structure is now replaced with the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 model. I will discuss in detail about this model. So we have 5 years with 3 years of preschool or Anganwadi. It includes classes 1 and 2 and students of age group of 3 to 8 years. Here the concept of learning will be on activity based learning. Then comes our preparatory stage. It includes students of age group 8 to 10 years and classes 3rd to 5th. So in this stage, the subjects like English, Hindi, languages, physical education, geography and many more will be introduced. Next comes our middle stage. And in this stage, we have students of age group 11 to 13 years and classes 6 to 8. So here the concept of learning is to introduce abstract concepts in our education. So that abstract concept in the subject of maths or English and many other subjects like this. And then comes our high school, that is our secondary stage. And our secondary stage is divided into two phases. The first phase will cover classes 9 and 10, and the second phase will cover classes 11th and 12th. And it includes students of age group of 14 to 18 years. So basically, the concept here is to instill multidisciplinary studies along with depth and critical thinking into the students, as the students will be offered a variety of subjects to choose from. Now, I would like to discuss some key highlights of the policy as well. So, in this policy, now there is one thing that the exams that were being held every academic year are now being replaced with only 3 exams that will be held in classes 2nd, 5th, and 8th. Personally, I believe it could be a good thing as it will reduce stress and anxiety a lot of students face during examination. What do you guys think? What do you think?
I think I totally disagree on this point, and the government will have to reconsider because students will never understand the real meaning of studying. They will never understand the greater perspective of discipline without tests being held every year. And a student can never understand what they have learned in the first year and then study it again in the third year and then come together for an examination. It will just not make sense.
Yes, Aditya, even I agree with you.
I think we all have our opinions on this point. So coming back to the policy. So the next point I have is that the board exams will be continued to help for classes 10th and 12th, but the structure will be redesigned. And the standard for that structure will be set by an assessment body PAL to make them easier, and the students will be offered up to 2 attempts to pass the examination. And the report cards offered to the students will also be holistic in nature. And I think comes a very real issue here that we have all faced during our life, in our school life, that we were not able to focus on our personal interest as much as we have wanted to because of the load of our school curriculum. So the policy aims at reducing the school curriculum load by allowing us to be more multidisciplinary and multilingual. I think this is a very good adoption because, for example, if a student wants to pursue fashion studies along with physics, or if one wants to pursue bakery along with chemistry, one would be allowed to do so. And in allowed to do so, A student is also offered multiple entry and exit pathways in general and vocational studies. Now, the last point of the policy that I would like to highlight is that the coding will be introduced from 6th standard onwards now, and experimental based learning will also be introduced. I think this is one of the biggest adoptions because let's be honest, coding has now become very common and very a crucial component nowadays for work. So coming to an end, I would like to say that the national education policy has is bringing very positive changes into our education system. But of course, it is not without flaws. It is a very heavy project and it requires great implementation of not only students and their parents, but also of our teachers as well. Because it is a new learning curve for everyone. A new curriculum has to be devised and perfected. So the Indian education system has a long road of improvement ahead, and I'm curious to see what the government has to do about it. Thank you.
Thank you for catching the audience so well, Samya. So with this, the first panel comes to its closure. If anyone want to ask something, the stage is open. Anyone? Okay, so there was one question that was popping into my mind while speaking about NET and all stuff. That the standardized testing that the generally schools and colleges follow is the proper way to check the caliber of students.
I think it's the best way to have standardized tests because India being largely populated, there is no better way to have standardized tests so that we know according to a particular up to a particular CGPA, we know what type of calibers a student can have, and then we can have more device tests for that particular. But in general, a standardized test is actually important, I guess.
Okay, don't you think that CBSE or colleges should put more focus on the MCQs and less subjective learning?
I think they have started implementing these points. They have started including MCQs and more ethical thinking questions into the examination.
Yes, good. So that's all for the first panel. Thank you for the time. To make the panel more intense and interesting, so let's welcome our second panel on the stage. Let's give a good round of applause for Utkarsh Verma from BBA third year and our fifth panelist. Welcome, Utkarsh. Moving on to our next panelist, we have Srikar from BBA third year. Welcome, Srikar. Our seventh panelist of the day is Shaurya Sabharwal from BBA third year. Welcome, Shaurya. And moving on to our last panelist, we have Udesha Kanturia from BBA third year. Welcome, Udesha. So, education gives everyone a chance to acquire new knowledge and skills that can definitely improve their quality of life. So, my question is that is institutional education necessary for being successful? I would like to one of our panelists to answer that question after this card.
Thank you so much, Harry, for the warm introduction. So before right on jumping to the topic, whether institutional education is necessary for being successful or not, I think it's going to be a very controversial topic. Sitting in an institution and speaking about whether institutional education is actually, leading to success or not. So before jumping right onto the topic, let's understand what actually education is. I was reading an article in the morning and I came across this interesting definition of education. I'm very sure that nobody can actually describe what education is. So in a way, we need to generalize that actually what education is. So this Sanskrit shlok reads as Nachor Haryam, Nacha Raja Harnam, Vaya Krute Vardhata Eva Nityam, Vidya Dhanam, Sarva Dhanam Pradhanam, which means that which cannot be stolen by thieves, nor it can be taken away by government in the way of taxes, nor it is a burden of weight to bear, and nor it also increases with expanding. The wealth of education is the real wealth, which cannot be destroyed and not be stolen, but increases while expanding. So I think this really justifies actually what education is. Talking about education, if I ask any one of you what actually education means to you, so tell me, any one of you, what is education? Do we know what actually education is?
Developing skills. It's a
Uh,
ladder to success.
Absolutely, but all these are not the complete definitions. Also, if I talk about what actually I am studying in this college right now, for example, I'm studying income tax, I'm studying GST. Do you think if after 20 years, if I look back into my college life, the scenario would be completely different, isn't it? And this education, which the past people have gathered in the past, is irrelevant in the present times, and the education which we are right now gathering and the skills which we right now are polishing will soon be very irrelevant in the times to come. So what actual education is, definitely the actual definition of the word is not there. So let's come to the yeah. So coming to my topic, do institutions really contribute to the success, or is institutional education necessary for being successful? What do you guys think? Let's keep it an open discussion and not from one side. Is institutional education necessary for being successful? What do you think?
Yes, it is necessary because it creates some type of base for higher studies if you want to pursue.
Okay, any other answers? Anyone? Yes.
I don't think so. Institutional education is important because institutional education doesn't teach you a lot about the practical stuff. There are a lot of illiterate people who are successful businessmen.
That's perfect. So, coming to my opinion on whether institutions have a role to play in your success, I think the answer is on the both sides. Let me take you to the history where, let's talk about Dronacharya. We all know the Mahabharata, we all know Arjun. He was a very great archer, isn't it? He was actually. He was actually studying there or learning the archery skills in the institution, which was owned by Guru Dronacharya himself. And Karn was also a student of Dronacharya who never went to him but learned all the skills just by seeing what actually the archery is. He never took help of that institution but was a very great warrior as compared to Arjuna, and for that reason he was killed in a conspiracy. So where were the institutions there? Let's come to another example. You can see, you heard about Eklavya. In the second picture, you can see Dronacharya in the form of Guru Dakshina, what he did so that his only student, Arjuna, can succeed in the field of archery. He actually demanded the thumb of that man who actually devoted his entire life and learned the skills and even contributed to the advancement of Dronacharya in some way because he made him the guru, which he need not go to fetch education, but he can learn by even seeing how the action and the skills are performed. So coming to the next slide, yeah. So you can read that too. So these all the examples which I have presented are of the past, isn't it? You guys must be wondering that are these really very relevant in the present times? Let me tell you the scenario of the present times. So the institution at present impose many bars upon the individuals, and one of the major bar that we all are sufferers of is attendance, isn't it? So, institutions tell us that you are adult, you have the power to take your own decisions. So, do we not know how much we need to study and when we need to come to college? What do you guys think? Are we not aware of this decision if we are adults? So, this criteria is absolutely outdated, isn't it? So, could you please switch to the next slide? Uh, yeah. So, the next slide, please. So, what actually is this? So, at present, this is the present example I'm telling you how these structures which the institutions lay are really very outdated in the present times. So this is my team. I'm working in a startup and I'm heading the consulting part of the startup. We started this startup 6 months back. And let me tell you one another thing. In the 4 semesters, I'm currently in the 5th semester. In the 4 semesters, I was not a part of this startup. In the 5th semester, I joined the startup. My attendance in all the past 4 semesters is above 95%. And in the 5th semester, my attendance is only 65%. But let me tell you why it is so. I have contributed my major time in making this successful. And in the 6 months only, we have the net profit of 1 lakh rupees without any financing from any major source. So the team who is actually heading the human resource, the human resource part of this startup, do you think they need to come to college to learn how to implement human resource management? Do you think they need to spend their time in the classes to learn about how to fetch the finance when already in the 6 months they have reached in the top 10% of the startups that begin from the ground and reach to heights? And the profit which we are earning every day is multiplying. And I can really assure you, if this attendance criteria is not there, we can also spend much time on it. These are my friends, they are from IIT Delhi. I'm working with them. And all of them are DBAR, like in the present semester. But we are very proud that we are DBAR startup holders. And you know what actually the education system is teaching us, we are implementing in there. And the subjects which are only taught in a theoretical manner in the college, we are implementing them practically, and we are proud to say that we have these classes to make this startup what it is actually today. So coming back to the previous slide, the criteria of attendance. I think this is the real problem that we all face, and we must have the real right to choose to exercise what we actually want to do and what not. So let me also introduce you to some of the famous personalities who have been successful without any institutions. Next slide. Next one. So Albert Einstein. Nobody could answer, nobody could answer the questions that he used to ask his teachers in their classes, and as a result, he was thrown out of the school. Do we not study his theories? So, is any institution behind that who has made him write whatever he has written? And almost 96% of the physics was burnt in his lab. And what we actually study today is only the 4% of what was actually left. So all the doctorates, all the educators are following a failure, and this is the live example of how institutions are not necessary if you really want to take your way to success. Coming back to the man, the hyped man Elon Musk, he was doing his PhD from a foreign university, but dropped it in between because he realized that these institutions are just there only for the people who are weak at their discipline part. And this is the reality. If you are not disciplined, if people have to drag you to set up your life, people have to tell you what routine you need to follow, people have to tell you what you need to study, what you need to read, what you need to do with your life. Institutions are a wonderful place because they actually do that. They are teachers to tell you what to do. They are mentors to support you what you actually want to do. But if you want to become the alchemist of your own destiny, I don't think institutions are really needed in the country. But yes, if you want to only fetch a degree and a 9 to 5 p.m. job, institutions are made only for you. Thank you so much. That will help.
Thank you for the insightful words of courage. You really brought the momentum back. Shrikant, we hear a lot.
Sorry to interrupt, Udesh. I just want to counter your question. You said ki your attendance is very less, but you didn't tell anyone till fourth semester your attendance was 94%. You are a university topper. You came first, then you decide now in sixth semester you need to use all your theories in a practical. So the thing is that if from first semester you do such kind of thing, maybe or may not be the situation and the result is not like that. So studies are important, attending class is also important, but at the end, as you said, you know what to do and you know what not to do with the whole sort responsibility on your shoulder. We are here to guide you all the time. We are here to debar you if you are not in the class. We are here to mentor you. We are here for 24/7 support, and we always appreciate whenever you got success, and no matter you got debar or not, whenever you got success in life, definitely we always cheer your success. So the thing is that your 94% attendance for 4 semesters is most important. You maintain that attendance, yes or no? You are the first one in the class, you are the last one in the class. You submit all your assignment, test, everything, PPT, presentation. So there must be some contribution of institutions in your success. This is the only my opinion. I'm not saying you are right or wrong, because nothing is right, nothing is wrong. We all can decide what is right, what is wrong. Clear? And one solution cannot work for everyone. Everyone needs to write his and her own destiny. Okay? Okay. Ankita ma'am also want to say something. And one more thing, Utkarsh is a non-commerce background student and is a university, about to university topper. Okay?
So, thank you so much for that. And before coming to ma'am, I would like to here highlight this fact that if you are working on some internship, if you are working on your startup, if you directly tell them that ma'am, I won't be attending classes, I am working on this internship or I am working on this startup. The answer is straight away concentrate on your semester. First, you need to acquire this knowledge in order to implement. And I have like examples who are much better than in implementing the knowledge practically rather than studying that theoretically. Also coming to the other part, if I tell them at the end of semester with a fake medical report that ma'am I was admitted in the hospital, I am, allowed to sit in the exam. But if I tell the reality, ma'am, I was working night and days on my startup, I need to concentrate on my studies first. So I think this is the utter hypocrisy which institutions need to draw. That what actually we are teaching to the students? What actually? That submit the false medical reports. And what we actually are doing to the students who really want to excel and innovate in their lives? That you first need to complete your graduation. You cannot work on an internship. So submitting the fake medical reports is really right. But if you tell the truth that I'm really working on my life skills, I'm really working on startup and internship, then so am I really are not allowed to do that.
Your points are well taken, but as Navneet has said, I agree to him, saying that every case is different, right? If you're talking about a candidate who is very clear from day one what he wants to do in his life, then institutions definitely play a role in shaping his or her career because there is already a clarity in mind. But what about students who are clueless? If they are left out in open like that with no rules, with no boundaries, I think they might go more haywire.
That is what actually I have highlighted. That institutions are very necessary if you do not know what to do because they provide you a disciplined environment. They have teachers, they have mentors who are there to guide you and to take the train of your life into the right direction. That is well taken. But I'm saying that institutions should not be a barrier to the growth in the points which I have highlighted.
Actually, in institution, we have a mixed crowd. We have students who have a clarity, we have students who are totally clueless. So we need to cater to both, right? You are an exceptional case. There might be more exceptional cases, but those exceptional cases cannot define rules. Rules are to be uniform.
I totally agree to that, ma'am. But what do we have to say on the part like we, wholeheartedly accept the medical reports. But when the student comes to us regarding the internship or regarding the working in startup, why do we straight away deny that student? Why do we not do the background check?
You were genuine.
Absolutely.
Can you take the confirmation that everybody is genuine?
No, but I can present my reports.
So why do you say no?
Because no, I can present my
You can guarantee
genuinity.
yourself
Yes.
that you are genuine. Can you claim that the other people who are presenting?
For that, I'm requesting for a background check. And that should be done.
It's easier. That's what I said. There are cases who are very exceptional like yours, or probably there might be more. But there are also cases which are not genuine. then in that case, filtration is required.
Definitely.
Actually, are they asking you for a medical to submit?
I'm actually,
I am sitting here, so.
No, I do not need medical because I already have the attendance of the events to cover that lab in my attendance.
So you're getting attendance.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
supposed to submit it.
No, I am
Those who are
not
not
supposed to.
participating in the events,
Yes.
those who are not coming to the classes. And even there are so many, you can see the list of the students who are debarred. They could also submit the medicals, but their medicals are not accepted. Why so?
Ma'am, but we are doing a
It is
matter.
that easy. They
No,
can
no.
also submit.
No,
How
we
many
are-
students are there who are debarred from the internal?
Most of the first year.
No, no, no. You guys must be agreeing with me that when we submit a medical, as always there is a background check. On the medical reports, for always there is a background check. But the startups and internship students have denied straight away.
Let this conversation by saying that there are exceptional
It's not
cases
part of national education policy. If it is happening, they are accepting the medical. This is flaw in the system, not in national education policy. This is the flaw of the system.
Absolutely, I agree to that.
Not the national education
No,
policy.
not at all.
Yes, over to you, Dad. Sorry for interruption.
Okay, so coming back to the panel, I would like speaker to tell us something about brain drain and human capital side.
Thank you, Harry. I would like to take it from here. So, brain drain, a term you may have heard while reading some article in the newspaper or while seeing some online video. What is it? It is related to abroad studies and stuff. Well, brain drain is basically the immigration or emigration of highly skilled students or employees from their native countries to any other country. That is exactly what brain drain is. And the net benefits for the receiving country who receive these highly skilled trained individuals is known as brain gain. If you think about it, the name makes sense because essentially the country is gaining brains, like smart students, and vice versa. For the sending country, it is known as brain drain because there is brains being drained from that country and they're moving to some other better place where they can find better opportunities. Now, why do people do that? Why don't you just stay at your own home or your own home country and just be comfortable there and do your job? Why do people get in search for some other job in some other country and leave their comfort zone? Well, primarily there are two reasons for that, which I'm pretty sure you all may have guessed. First is better standards of living, and second is better job opportunities and better salaries. That's why people leave their own countries for some other country, mostly developed nations. Now, how did it all start? Like, why? How did people start exploring this stuff, and why did brain drain start happening in our country? Well, in the 1970s, few Indian students graduated from elite public institutions and universities, and they were flabbergasted to find out that there are no good jobs available in the country at the time. There were no good jobs, and even if they were, the pay was not very well, right? So they started to look at the options. They started to see a bigger picture. Then they saw that in the US and UK, they are getting jobs there, and these countries are more than happy to welcome these people going there. Right. So they found out that specifically in the fields of technology, science, and management and engineering, these people like US, these countries have a lack and scarcity of these type of skilled labor and people. So people start moving there for better jobs. Now, the next question which comes to mind is it a good thing for developing nations that these people are just leaving their country? Well, obviously not, right? Well, this has two adverse effects. When these highly skilled individuals leave their own country, that country there is a void that is made in that country because these skilled people are very hard to replace. Think about it yourself. Like out of 10 people, we are not like it's not sure that out of 10 people, every one of them is bright. There may be two or three students, and if they're leaving the country, it is a huge loss for that country because when these people work in their own country, they generate revenue, and that revenue is taxable in nature, right? So the country gets a lot of tax. To give you a better picture of this, let me give you an example. Suppose there's a surgeon, right? So that surgeon has graduated from India only, but he's very well, he has graduated from very well-known, renowned public institute, and he's moving on to some other country. So what would happen is that people will go to that country in search of that particular surgeon and not to our own country, and hence the economy is brought down for the country as a whole. And this happens a lot. Now, the last thing is that what can Indian government do to reduce brain drain? And is it still increasing or is it stagnant now? Or is it decreasing now? Because let's be honest, India's economy is in a far better state than it was in the 70s. It is way better now. Well, to my surprise, after my research, I found out that in 2019 there were 7.7 lakh people who went to abroad for these studies, and that number is going to grow to a staggering 20 lakh people by 2024, according to researchers. That's insane, right? Like people are still willing to move abroad to some other country. Well, this is primarily happening because of the not so good work culture here in India. Even if you're working at a big company, it is pretty like even my dad works in a corporate company and he gets calls midnight that you have to do this work, do that work. Where the work culture in some other countries is way better. If the working hours are like for 6 to 8 hours, that's it. After that, you don't need to work. The weekends are off. You don't get a call from your boss or manager that hey, please do this work or something like that. So that is the first primary thing I think the government of India should like implement that to improve the working standards of Indian job sector and corporate society. And second, they can start investing in the economically backward sections of the society, where our job sector is a bit weaker in comparison to other sectors. And lastly, I think India should promote immigration as well because more people, if they come and study in our country's name would be increased, like it would be more reputable. And finally, this is a bit controversial, but I feel like the reservation system needs to be changed. Like I have seen a lot of my friends move to some other country. They're very good, they're very bright, but they move to some other country because of the reservation system. If you're in the general category, you're pretty much, it's very difficult for you to get a seat in very renowned institute. That's why many people make some fake certifications as well. And I feel like this was very good in the earlier days, but now things have changed. Like I have many friends who are from backward society, and they're, to be frank, more financially strong than me. Their families have better financial backgrounds than mine. So I feel like there should be a reinvention of the reservation system. And that's pretty much it about brain drain and everything about brain drain, like the effects it has on developing nations like India and what it does. Thank you. Back to you then.
Thank you, Sridhar. I'm sure the audience must have been a lot about it. Okay, so I would like to know from you all that from you who want to go on for abroad or online studies. Well, that's a huge number. So there is such a phrase of foreign education, and what is there like what is there that India is not providing? Yes.
Institution in India is IIM, Indian Institute of Technology. Can you tell me the rank of Indian Institute of Technology in the world's largest university?
Why is that necessary?
Yeah.
Why is that necessary?
Why isn't
Why
that
discussing here not the language but about the education?
about the education system? Good point. Why other countries are
No, no,
inviting
no, no, no.
students? Just tell me why other
Just
countries are
stick
inviting
to your question. Why do you want to know the ranking of Indian
Same thing why Bill Gates is from Harvard, not from IIT. Same thing.
No, but we are discussing here the education and how education is transforming in India.
Yeah,
Is it very relevant to know about the ranking?
completely developed education system and go outside. IIT's rank is 117. IIT's rank is 117.
So you know that.
Yes,
So,
you know that.
okay. Anyhow.
Yes, continue. So this I would like to know on it.
It is that India is having now, India is still in a developing phase, and the other countries like UK, US, United States, and like that, Singapore, etc., are much ahead of India. And India is having the capability that in the upcoming future, India will raise itself to the opportunities for the students, and India will fill the gap between the developed and the developing countries for sure. मोदी जी का तो मुमकिन है हो जाएगा.
Okay, so moving on to our next panelist, we have Professor Barwal. I would like to know your views on the rate of investment. Return on our investment, sorry.
I'm audible. So 70 lakhs. That's the amount of students graduating every year with a bachelor's degree in India. For comparison's sake, Indeed listed 10,800 jobs approximately this month. Now, even if we assume that those 10,000 jobs were created this month alone, that would leave about 1,20,000 jobs every year. 72 months. I'm not a very lucky student either. I'm a very hardworking like Utkarsh. So that's terrible, terrible lot for me. It's a compliment. So they're terrible lot. So this begs the question: is it worth investing in education, or should you just take that bag, 2 or 5, and take a business, invest in stocks, or maybe even property if you want? See, return on investment is a financial concept. So it gets very complicated when you try to apply it to a more qualitative aspect like education. Because let's say you decide to stay IIT, you decide to enroll yourself in IIS, which is the IT and Internet Network. You pay a mere $100 for the internet plan, and you're able to learn English and get yourself a job worth 10K at some call center. That puts a return on your investment at 1,000% within the first month. Similarly, if you decide to become a teacher in a government school, you spend an average of 2 lakhs, which is the industry average right now. You get a return, an average salary job is 25,000. That means that's 12% every month return. So now if you compare the call center job to the job of a teacher, you're getting a 1,000% return as compared to a 12% return on per month. When you say sure you're down, you'll get that salary every month going forward. That's really right. But you have to realize that 1,000% every month will double. 1,000 to 2, the next month will be 3,000. Whereas within the first year, you'll get a 150% return, which is about 3 lakhs in your teacher's job. So by purely statistical view, the call center job is a much better option than becoming a teacher. So this is what I'm talking about. It becomes very weird when you try to apply it. So you have to take a more qualitative look. You have to think about growth prospects. You have to think about environment. You have to think about the kind of exposure you will get. Obviously, there will be estimates that you guys will make depending on stipends and all, which your courses usually gets you. And that's correct. You should make that, but it's still a very hopeful short term. So it's because of it being a more qualitative aspect, you can also expect a more qualitative return. For example, there's a study which was conducted which said if you keep on learning throughout your life, you have a reduced chance of Alzheimer's in your elder age. So that's another return we're talking about, not quantitative in nature. So essentially, any investment in education will give you a positive return. Not necessarily in the short term, but in the long term, it always be positive.
Thank you, Shaurya. But this guy said not make
So let me ask you a very basic question. How many of you wanted to go out of country after your schooling or graduation? That's a good number. Even I was one of you back then, but now I realize that the ultimate aim of most of the Indian students is to go abroad. The ultimate aim of most of the Indian students is to go abroad. And why not? This all begins when they all get to know that their career and their studies are equally important as their upcoming future. So, what are these Gen Zs up to? What are we up to? Everybody knows what the Gen Z's category, the most trending word nowadays is. I guess everybody knows. So, what are we changes up to? What do you want? What are we up to? We want to study in India. We want to go abroad. Are we just a flock of sheep that are running after the people who want to go abroad? Because my friend is going, hence I want to go. Is it so? I don't think so. So let me show you a clip of that. So you never mind, I can there is some technical glitch. So what basically this video tells is that how a basic child or a human being in Punjab is. Like the basic aim of the child in Punjab is like once he is done with his 8th to 9th class, the basic aim of that child or goal is that he or she wants to land into Canada. Like कुछ नहीं है गोल चलो भी कनाडा चलते हैं बापू की जमीन बेचो चलो कनाडा लाइक इतना सिंपल है is it so simple that we have to go Canada or further studies like India is also a good country we can we have good institutions like IIT IIM Nasi we have gyms and other colleges as well so why not we can study in countries like India because the infrastructure is also good India is in a developing phase people are having the opportunities for the upcoming future. Like I remember when I was in my school, my teacher told me that you are such a good student, you must apply for SAT or the other competitive exam that might land you in some other countries for the future in the higher studies. But what I, being a child, got into her words that I was a child and my tender age told me that what your teacher is saying to you is absolutely right and you should close your eyes and follow those words blindly. And I did so because I was aiming for a God, but unfortunately I didn't go. Actually, most of the students are having the same goals. If the teacher told them, they are ready and they make up their mind that they have to go abroad because the friend is going or someone else is going in the family. So, what are these teachers and mentors are up to? These put a high premium on the students that they have to go abroad. Like, simple सी बात है, even the parents also say that the students want to go abroad, they can go abroad, have a well settled house, huge house, a good income, and of course a Wi-Fi that can land you to a good PR in UK. So Indian students have also faced a racial discrimination in these developed countries like the United States, United Kingdom, Singapore, Canada, etc. Like we have gone through such a rough phase, like the Indian students were not readily accepted in the foreign countries, and yet we Indians were readily available to go to the foreign countries just for the sake of getting a high income in the upcoming future. And why not? If a person is getting a high income in the foreign countries, he or she will be willing to go. And why not? Even you, even I, even ma'am, and even sir, if they are offered a high income in the other countries, they would definitely go. Why would anybody leave a chance to go? But the reason is why are we not investing in our country? Just like Dhere asked one of the panelists that where India is lacking, we should find that lacking in India. The government should work on those things that the India is facing, the challenges India is facing in the education sector, that why the youth is going out of country and investing in the economic development of GDP of the other countries rather than in India. We are having a number of examples like the Sundar Pichai, the recent Prime Minister of UK, Mr. Rishi, and other famous personalities. These all personalities have contributed the most in the Indian name, but unfortunately, they have invested and contributed towards the growth of GDP and economic conditions of those countries. It has only given the fame and name to the country India. So my request to all the people and teachers and mentors is that think upon it. Like India is not a bad country. India is in the developing phase. India is having the demographic features that can lead to a well-developed country in the upcoming future. And Indian education, as Sarthak also told that the Mr. Aryabhatta and other economics and the teachers have made India at such a level that we Indians can probably say that we belong to India, even if you go in any corner of the world. So think upon it, is India a really bad country to live in, or you can prefer to go abroad? Thank you. That's you there.
I just like to add one point. आपकी बात हुई थी कि अगर सर और मैम को भी हायर पैकेज मिलेगा तो क्या हो जाएंगे. So personally, in my opinion, you must have studied a very basic concept in economics called the opportunity cost. So अगर हम सिर्फ quantitative, there are two things. Both opportunity cost is both quantitative and qualitative. If I am just considering my salary, so and there is a cost of relocation. So there was a news, I think yesterday or day before, that a person relocated to Canada for a higher pay package job in Meta, and he was fired 2 days later. So I would consider everything before leaving, and I think now the country has so much to offer. Family is one thing that if I move, that is one major thing that I'll consider is qualitative. Mental peace, quality of life. So some people think that quality of life is better in these advanced countries. But I have friends and family, and believe you me that the quality of life is not all that good because आप इतना ज़्यादा काम खुद कर रहे हो. You are working for that company, and you are working for your family. Then you are working at home. There's so much that you are doing that there is no time to sit and think about or even realize the money that you're earning. So I would genuinely consider my opportunity cost, both qualitative and quantitative, convert that in monetary terms, and then decide if I really want.
Exactly, man. That is what I spoke in my speech as well. Like the person, like if the person has got opportunity, including you and me, we could first see that is there any growth opportunity provided there, like the salary I'm getting over here is equivalent to the salary that is being offered in the other countries, or it is more than that. There is a site on website. Yes, ma'am, I'm coming back only. There is a site on Google you can search that. It is a name with I guess PPC that tells you about the money you are earning in the country and the destination country you want to go in. You can calculate the amount of money you are earning. For example, you are earning 2 lakhs in India, and the money that is offered to you is roughly around 6 lakhs in Canada. You can have a great comparison between the salary offered in India and salary offered in Canada or the other countries. So from there you can get to know that the living expense or the total amount of income that you are generating in the other countries is equivalent. Is it more profitable? Are you going to get into loss? So you can calculate with that. And the point that you told about the mental peace, that's the most important. If you are not happy, if you are the person that loves to be with your family, I guess then India is a better country for you rather than going out. Sure.
तो आपने अभी पॉइंट illustrate किया, that is called purchasing power parity PPP. Again that is only qualitative, quantitative. वो क्या बताता है कि अगर एक कंट्री में कितना अमाउंट है, how much it can fetch me in the other country. Is it enough to fetch me the same bundle of goods and services or not? Again, it is not accounting for my time. Opportunity cost consists of time. The time that I come home and spend in working on chores that are freely available to me. So आपका पॉइंट करेक्ट है, बट अगेन जब आप कंपेयर कर रहे हो उस पर्टिकुलर वेबसाइट पे सिर्फ टीपीपी कंपेयर कर पा रहे हो, दैट हाउ मच माय सैलरी इज फेचिंग मी हियर वर्सेस व्हाट इट इज फेचिंग मी देयर. आपके कॉस्ट डिफरेंट है, राइट? आपने ये तो कंपेयर कर लिया कि यहाँ पे क्या मिल रहा है, वहाँ पे क्या मिल रहा है. यू आर नॉट एबल टू कंपेयर. यहाँ पे आपका अपना घर है, वहाँ पे आपको रेंट पे करना है. There are so many costs that get added to it. So quantitatively also there will be change. Qualitatively also there will be change. You are right. I accept. I'm just adding to what you have already said.
I was also going to add in that. Like the website I mentioned that tells us about the rental cost, the transportation cost, and the food. It gives a basic idea that the amount that I'm going to spend per month, it will exclude the extra income and the basic income that I'm going to earn. So that website tells you about that only, not only the price difference. That is why I mentioned the name of the website also. Thank you.
I would like to counter you for a statement. You know what we just said? We said that there is a wide gap between India and the Western countries in terms of education, and we need to cover that. I don't agree. Although there is, but that is very apparent. That is not real. Let me complete. And you know, guys, what I have written on the board, can any one of you comprehend it? Anyone? Yeah, please.
You have to search the electron rather legal line.
What it is?
Yeah. This is the actual difference of distance between Earth and the Sun, which was written in Hanuman Chalisa, which was 7,000 years old. I know that, and I know all the facts that you're going to say. India and now without the puja.
Oh, you do not know what I'm actually going to say. No, you cannot predict me. You cannot predict me.
No one can predict anything.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Okay.
no, so what actually it is, the actual distance of sun from the earth. Let me tell you, Hanuman Chalisa was written in the prehistoric times when, people even were not keeping the records of the inventions and the innovations that were happening. And we as Indians told the world what actually is the exact distance of sun from the earth. Even after 10,000 years, many Western scientists have, argued that it is only 450 times the radius of the Earth, 550 times the radius of the Earth, 1,000 times the radius of the Earth. But when actually the technology came to our hands, came to the hands of NASA, they actually confirmed that it is exact what is actually mentioned in Hanuman Chalisa. And Hanuman Chalisa is not from the West. Let me be very clear. We Indians actually knew, we Indians actually discovered what actually the world is now discovering. But most of us are interested in going to the West to fetch the education degrees for the fancy names which the universities of the West holds. And for only for that reason, the education system in India is deteriorating at a very, very fast rate. The second point mentions the flat earth and the round earth. You know the debate is still on whether the earth is flat or round, but the people who have been out to the space and they have got the pictures to us, they actually have confirmed that this planet is actually round. But let me tell you, Rig Veda is one Veda from Indian mythology, which even do not has the date when it was written. It is that old. And that displays an incarnation of Lord Vishnu as Vara avatar, carrying the earth in the tusks, like in the form of an elephant, in a pig, in the form of a pig, and that incarnation is already carrying that earth in the tusks. So, do we really need to worry whether earth is round or the flat? Even in these times, this discussion is on. So I'm just telling you that please do not disrespect your culture, your education systems, the gurukuls which were present in the past, the students, the values they used to get from their teachers there are really very invaluable, and for that reason only India was known as the Vishnu Guru and Vishnu Vijeta. So we ourselves are compromising on the institutions that were heritage to us. We ourselves are compromising on the knowledge that we already knew and just following the West like anything. And that really is, very frustrating. If I think as an Indian that my country who used to be at the top of the education system, Nalanda and Takshila were the live examples. Educators like Chanakya almost had every solution for any managerial problems. You guys can name me the theories of the West, I'm very sure, like opportunity cut cost theories and all that. But is there one person that can tell me what Chanakya has told? He was a well-known economist from India. We are not aware what actually his, Chanakya Niti was. We only have heard that there was something known as Chanakya Niti, but do you guys know the principles of Chanakya? No, we certainly not. And this thing about the West is only coming from the part when we are ourselves defending our own culture, our own values, and the knowledge which is already there with us. But we have this the saga to stamp the opinions only when it comes from the West. So I think that really needs to change, and India is nowhere less than anyone in terms of anything, whether it is education, whether we talk about industries or anything. We just need to have that spirit to respect ourselves and have confidence in our culture, our institutions, and most important in our own spirit. So I would say that as Indians, at least we must be proud of what actually we have already told to the world. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Lucas. So, generally, parents also say that पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब and खेलोगे तो होगे खराब. So, don't you think that India should also implement transformation of sports along with education?
I think that is a very controversial statement to comment upon. That पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब, because it has both the ways. Like even if you are from a well-reputed institution, even if you hold a very high qualification, we cannot really say that you are educated because it is displayed in your behavior. The degrees only do not define whether you are educated or not. And on the other hand, the sports person, I think that is really very important for every one of us to invest our lives in sports as a management student. Because sportsmanship teaches us how to handle failures. It teaches us how to go beyond the limits. So, studying and playing are actually very two different domains, and I do not very sympathize with the people who were of the opinion that if you will only play, you will not succeed in life, and study is the only way out. We have players who have been very pathetic at studying, but who have really succeeded in their careers. And on the other hand, we also have people who have degrees from well-reputed colleges, but when we hear their opinion in public, when they come on the stage, nobody really likes to listen to them because even the terrorists are well educated. That's why they know how to make that bomb. That's why they know how to plan that bomb. So I think it's again a very controversial topic to comment upon whether sports versus education. So that is only the conclusion I would say.
I would like to add something to what Utkarsh said. Just like Nafisa also told that there are some exceptions. So if we consider the exceptions, like we're having a number of exceptions in our country. First is, I guess everybody has watched the movie Mahendra Singh Dhoni, in which his sister also used to say him like, "पढ़ोगे नहीं तो fail हो जाओगे, and go to study, you will become a nice man." But MS Dhoni proved that theory wrong, just like Utkarsh also mentioned. Like sports are also important, but studies are also important, and hence Mahendra Singh Dhoni also proved the theory wrong, and he is not well educated. Like I guess he has completed the 12th class, I guess, or maybe he is a graduate, but he has not completed the further studies, and still he is one of the best sportsmen in the country. And the second example we have is of Mr. Ambani. Mr. Ambani has completed only his class 10th, and he is one of the biggest business tycoon in the entire world. So there are exceptions. Studies and sports are two different things. Do not include them as one because each and every person has different capabilities, are having different approach towards the future. So make a difference between the two. Like what you have to choose in the upcoming future. Thank you.
Okay, so concluding the panel, I would just say that there is no denying that our education system will change over the next 2 to 3 years. Like, if we look at the longer vision, the classrooms will be more tech-based and then paper-based. So, with this, ladies and gentlemen, it comes to an end of panel discussion 2022. I would like to thank you for your presence and take the talk about your
All are very good as audience. So just five more.
Attendance matter.
Why? Why? A wise man once said, knowledge has a beginning but no end. I would like to thank all the panelists for their valuable input. This was indeed a very informative and knowledgeable panel. Now, I would like to invite Ankita ma'am to award the panelists and the moderator with a certificate and a medal. Utkarsh Verma. I would like to invite Tanshi ma'am for a
Actually, due to a technical error, our sheets are not arrived, so हम demo
straight correct.
tomorrow. Yes. With the next. Aditya. This is the art of managing things. Yeah. Aditya. Everyone will. Okay, with the next.
Shikhar Bhagatula. I would like to invite Aarti ma'am and Sanjeev sir. I would like to invite Navneet sir to award Sanya Toli. I would like to invite Ankita ma'am for Shaurya Sabharwal. I would like to invite Sanjeev sir to award Station. I would like to invite Aarti ma'am to award Sarthak. I would like to invite Navneet sir for awarding Vishesh Guna. And now our moderator, Derek Ravana.
Clap for him.
The results for essay writing and poster making competition will be declared by tomorrow. On behalf of the entire IISc team, I would like to thank all the faculty members for giving us this opportunity and support. The student coordinators without whom this event would not have been successful, and the technical team for supporting us throughout. There are many special events planned by IISc for the coming months, like National Pollution Day, National Energy Conservation Day, and Youth Day. Hope to see you all there. Thank you.
यार वो चलान तो दे
Assemble in the stage for group photograph. And all the council members be here. All the students will get the attendance. Don't worry about it. Write down the name of every student next to me. Okay?
यहाँ बिठाया था तुमने फिर से गाली दी थी मैंने
अभी कैमरा चल भी रहा था तो एक्सप्रेशन दिख रहा है कैमरा चल भी रहा था चल तो रहा था
Hello everyone, kindly exit the auditorium, all the lovely audience.